So Thoth himself has claimed to have built the Great Pyramid, okay? Now, if you listen to mainstream archaeology, they'll tell you that it was Cheops and Khufu and all these crazy names. These guys didn't build anything, okay? If you go to Egypt, which I encourage everybody to do, go to the Valley of the Kings. I have a specific guy that I recommend. His name is Muhammad Gamal, and if anybody needs his contact information, I'll get it to you. Muhammad Gamal. Gamall is his last name. He's got a phenomenal team. They're not going to give you the mainstream tourism, information. They're going to give you the real homegrown, because they're homegrown, real information, not the fake lies. And what you'll find out is that in the Valley of the Kings, for example, unfortunately, the way that things work in this world, it's always been going back even to those times. Once a king was building his tomb, if for whatever reason another person was coming up behind him, another king was coming up behind him, or there was a takeover, if they would find that tomb built and waiting for the current king to pass on, they may assassinate that king and steal the tomb for themselves, so they don't have to invest any money into creating their own tomb, because these tombs cost money, believe it or not. So they would jack each other for tombs. It's just crazy. There's no wonder why they would try to claim building the Great Pyramid. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a feat like that in their honor, in their name? You know what I mean? So it was really just a bunch of lies. They really tried to put claims in that they had owned it or created it, but they never had laid one brick. Never invested any money or time or energy into one brick in the Great Pyramid. As a matter of fact, we're going to show you today how old the Great Pyramid is. Some of you may have heard my theory about it being 36,000 years old, which I came up on my own based on the precession of the equinoxes and the constellation of Leo. Well, I'm not the only one. Later on, I found a very famous historian that came up with the same conclusion. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but we're going to show that small clip as well. And then we're going to see a very amazing clip about the Giza Plateau. But Thoth says, "Builded I the Great Pyramid, patterned after the pyramid Earth's force, burning eternally so that it too might remain through the ages. In it I builded my knowledge of magic science." Now, magic science translates into advanced technology. That's what it means, okay? "In it I builded my knowledge of magic science so that it might be here when I again return from Amenti. I, while I sleep in the halls of Amenti, my soul roaming free will incarnate, dwell among men in one form or another." Here we have again his account of, he's in the halls of Amenti, which are located underneath the Great Pyramid, and while his body is in there, really, his consciousness is now inhabiting another avatar body and walking amongst men. They make many, many references to the fact that they walk amongst men, but unlike a man. And these halls of Amenti, as I was saying yesterday, had been discovered underneath the Great Pyramid. They're about a mile deep. They found hundreds of rooms, archway rooms underneath the Great Pyramid that extend out under the Giza Plateau about 1 mile. About 1 mile beneath. And ground-penetrating radar from satellites is now proving this. They also found, guess what, guys? Hundreds, not a few dozen, hundreds of pyramids underneath the sand at Giza. Hundreds of pyramids. And those pyramids were buried with sand from 400 miles away. Okay, think about that. So when they bailed out of here after the last pyramid war, they literally took all the technology out of all the pyramids and temples, and then they buried as much as they possibly could. More evidence of this. Anybody heard of Göbekli Tepe? Okay, ancient site in Turkey. Well, this site in Turkey, which is it was only like not even 1/4 revealed now in terms of being dug up archaeologically. It's such a massive, massive site. This site dates back to about 14,000 years, right before the last ice age, and the stone pillars that have come up have etchings or carvings of dinosaurs and humans and animals that don't even belong in that region. But the most amazing thing about this, the synchronicity, the sand that buried this entire civilization of Göbekli Tepe comes from hundreds of miles away. Buried on purpose. Buried on purpose. And the more you look into the ancient past, the more you look into these ancient sites that I've been to, you begin to realize when these temples and these pyramids are buried, and they investigate the sand and they investigate the soil samples, they begin to realize buried on purpose. And it just keeps coming up over and over again. So you begin to realize that there was an actual purposeful attempt to hide this information from us thousands of years ago before we got into what we call the modern era. You know, before we got here. We're just now starting to rediscover everything that already existed, basically. The pyramid is encoded with the distance to the sun. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't know. The pyramid is a giant mathematical computer. It's almost as if what Thoth did was he took every computation, every calculation about our solar system and astrophysics about this particular sector of space that he can find through whatever gathering data collection mission he had, whatever technology he had to collect this information. And then he literally programmed that into the Great Pyramid, the construction of the Great Pyramid. So it hides all of this information, all these secrets. The Great Pyramid is encoded with the distance to the sun, the sun's parallax, the size of the earth viewed from the sun. So that's what a parallax is. So the size of the sun as viewed from our perspective on the planet is what we call a parallax. That parallax is what allows for eclipses, for example. So from our position here on the earth, our moon perfectly covers the sun's disk because of that angle that we're at from this objective. But the size of the earth as viewed from the sun, expressed as an angle and generally taken to be 1/2 the diameter at the equator. So basically, the solar equatorial parallax is 8.9008091 seconds of arc. Now, I know there's a lot of math here. Using 91,848,817. So that's really a lot of miles. But basically what this whole thing is saying here is that when you start to analyze these numbers and you start to really look at the programming that's been put into this, you begin to realize that the way that the pyramid was built was built to tell us or give us a message about our solar system for people in this era. Everything that's hidden inside the pyramid, all these numbers, is made for us because we're the only ones now that can kind of really decipher it. So when you begin to analyze it, you begin to analyze and realize that this information wasn't for people not even 100 years ago, not even 200 years ago. This information is for us right now. And there's a reason for that, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit. But the Anunnaki named Thoth, also known as Nigazita in the Sumerian tablets, the son of Enki, in his own words, built the Great Pyramid from the top down. Okay? From the top down. So it wasn't like it was built from the base up, it was built from the top down. So one of the most amazing anomalies right here on Earth is embedded in the Great Pyramid. The tropical year or calendar year can be calculated. And basically that is the length of the base, which is 9,131 pyramid inches, measured at the mean socket level, or 365.24 pyramid cubits, which is the number of days in a year. Okay? This is amazing stuff. It's accurate to within 5 digits. The perimeter of the base divided by 100 equals 365.24. These aren't just coincidences, guys. This is real mathematics showing you that the pyramid is telling you how many days are in a year based off of the way that the structure is built. The tropical year can be calculated. The length of the antechamber used in the diameter of the circle produces a circumference of 365. The tropical year can be calculated. The ratio of the lengths of the grand gallery to the solid diagonal of the king's chamber times 100 equals the number of days in a tropical year. Okay? That's accurate to within 8 digits. The sidereal year, the length of the antechamber of the king's chamber times pi equals the length of the sidereal year in pyramid inches. I mean, again, these are not just accidental coincidences. The mean distance to the sun, half the length of the diagonal of the base times 10, 6 squared, equals the average distance to the sun. The mean distance to the sun, the height of the pyramid times 10 by 9 represents the mean radius of the Earth's orbit around the sun, or the AU, which is an astronomical unit in pyramid inches. You can see it there. But this is really amazing because now we're talking about an astronomical unit is the distance from Earth to the sun, but now you can also multiply that by planets. So if you take that distance, which you know that now set number, and then you go, okay, well, how far away is Mars from the sun? If you could put that exact distance in over like a ruler, over and over again, you get several of those. And now you can say, okay, well, Mars is 4 AU from the sun, for example. So it's like a measuring stick. So they knew the distance from the Earth to the sun and were able to use it as a measuring stick. And we now just started doing that in modern science and astrophysics. The sun's radius, you can find that out by going twice the perimeter of the bottom of the granite coffer times 10 by 8 squared is the sun's mean radius. The Earth's polar radius, the sacred cubit times 10 by 7 equals the polar radius of the Earth, which is the distance from the North Pole to Earth's center. I mean, how do you figure this stuff out and build it into this? you have to have satellites, you have to be orbiting from space, you have to have scanners, you have to have the capability of having advanced technology that can figure out all this information so that you can actually then take it and program it into the pyramid. You have also the Earth's polar radius. The pyramid embodies a scale ratio of 1 by 432. Now the pyramid, a lot of people don't know this, is incredible because it is a 1 by 432 scale of the Earth. This is now well known. That's actually taught in school. And it resonates at 432 hertz, which is why a lot of the songs that I put out are automatically, I program them or I put the frequency to 432, I tune it to 432 hertz, which is a nice resonant frequency which is being emitted by the Great Pyramid. So this is amazing information. None of this stuff is happening by happenstance. You can't just get this 432 scale of the planet Earth without knowing what the planet, how big the planet Earth actually is. So this is amazing stuff, that the knowledge and wisdom here is off the charts. They knew about pi, they knew about all of these different incredible, they knew about the golden ratio. It's all been programmed into this multifunctional stone computer. So we'll look at a couple of these incredible mathematical anomalies. The precise definition of the royal cubit as it relates to Earth, the size and shape of the Earth is all programmed in, the mass and density of the Earth, the gravitational constant, the escape velocity of the Earth to obtain an orbit is programmed into the Great Pyramid. Does anybody know what that number is? Okay, I know you do. The secret to, what is the secret to the 33rd degree Masons? Does anybody know the true secret, what the true agenda is? The true agenda of the 33rd degree Masons, which has been this much, ambiguous topic. Oh, 33rd degree Mason, blah, 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 Okay, well, what does it mean? Nobody really knows. They just think it's bad automatically. Well, what dates back to the ancient Sumerians and to the last pyramid war that happened after the flood, dealing with Amun-Ra and the second pyramid war, which caused the expansion of the Sahara Desert, by the way. And so basically, some people were stuck here on this planet, and some of them were able to leave. And the main goal and objective of that bloodline that was here, stranded here and stuck here, was to regain space, access to space. And you have to travel 33 times the speed of sound to enter into orbit around this planet. If you don't have an escape velocity of 33 times the speed of sound, you will not achieve escape velocity. You'll be stuck. You'll be brought back down by gravity. Okay? So if your plane is traveling at 400 miles an hour and you're going straight up, you can't go into space. If you're in an airplane that's traveling 500 miles an hour and you're going straight up, your plane will lose velocity and you will then be brought back. Okay? That's just general physics. You have to be in a vessel traveling 33 times the speed of sound. That's the whole mystery and secret behind space travel. If you look at the launch pad in Florida at the Space Coast, it's launch pad number 33, and there's only one launch pad, by the way. So I mean, there's so many correlations that I can give you like that. That NASA and the U.S. military have built in the 33 into everything, because it's all about space travel. It's all about obtaining our birthright, which is leaving this planet and exploring the galaxy. The escape velocity from Earth to obtain an escape from the combined Earth and Sun gravitational field is also programmed. The significance of the location of the Great Pyramid, now that would be something incredible. The Great Pyramid is located at the direct center of the landmass of the planet Earth. Not the center of the Earth, the center of the land mass. Now, let me give you a little hint on that. In order to obtain the center of land mass for a planet or a moon, you can't orbit with a satellite around the equator. Most satellites go around the planet like this, right? You have to do something we just were able to do in the 1990s. You have to create a North Pole orbit. So your satellite has to orbit this way, which we just learned how to do about 20 years ago. So as the satellite's orbiting the planet or the moon this way, and that planet or moon is spinning on its axis, the satellite is now taking scans, swaths of scans or images. And then at the end of the rotation of that planet or spatial body on its axis, those images are stitched together, and now you have a complete image, a map, on the topography of that entire moon or that planet. That's how you have to do it. So for these ancient civilizations to be able to program that into the Great Pyramid, they would have had to have technology that was on that same exact level or higher. They would have had to have been in space with a North Pole orbiting satellite that had the capability of scanning for topography, and then they would have to stitch that image together, put it into a computer, and come up with the total calculation of all the landmass, and then say, okay, now computer, tell me which location is the center of this landmass, and I'm going to put my massive Great Pyramid right on that exact spot. Hi, my name is Billy Carson. I'm the president of Forbidden Knowledge. Are you looking for an amazing opportunity that you can invest in that's already generating revenue? A company that's already making money and profits right now today? Well, look no further. Forbidden Knowledge. We have our own streaming TV network. We're now approved and streaming already on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, the iOS App Store, Google Play Store, and the web. We have over 5,200 amazing shows with over 22,000 subscribers. We just reached our 1-year anniversary, and we have a phenomenal base with huge potential upside. We're looking to be 3 times this size by this time next year, and you can be a big part of that. So please review this information and join us at Forbidden Knowledge. Thank you. You are watching Forbidden Knowledge TV.